you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens.
Nick.
Whoa, hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another Friday afternoon EBN cast. Welcome. Joined here by the one and only Culture Casino. How you doing, buddy?
Good. It's an interesting day. Lots of odd news. I'm not sure what we're going to cover, but I'm intrigued.
I actually have two topics I'm going to hit. The first one is a political. We hit some political stuff last week. So I'm going to hit one at the beginning, then I'm going to hit some good Star Wars news after this. After the first topic.
Are they completely restructuring the company? Is Disney selling it? Those are like the only things that I can possibly see that would be
no.
good news.
This has
Sequel
This actually
trilogy.
has zero to do with Disney Star Wars. This is old school Star Wars.
Okay.
No,
makes
the
sense.
Roku
During the-
story.
Yeah, before the dark times, before Darth KK and her
right.
band
I
of
know
misfits
this.
over there.
I know this
And
one.
then, of course, we're here by one and only John F. Trent. How you doing, John?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back. Sorry I was unable to make last week, but
Yep, no worries. Yep, Loki is out today. He actually had to drive downtown, so he will not be here with us today. So I'm taking his topic, and we're gonna move right into this, guys.
Did he send you a topic, or are you just picking for him?
No, I'm picking one for him, which is political topic. So this is just a quick video for anybody that watched the Trump speech this last Tuesday night.
How epic was that speech, man? How epic.
Yeah, it was absolutely epic. So here's some highlights of it, and then I just want to I'm going to give you guys just my quick thoughts on it, and then I want to get y'all's. But let's check it out. These are the highlights, some 5 key moments from that speech Tuesday night.
The golden age of America has only just begun.
Members are to uphold and maintain quorum in the House and to cease any further disruption. That's your warning.
Turns around like clown show.
Member engaging in willful and continue. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant at Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
And he's out of there.
Boom. Cancel.
Boom, cancel.
I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. GOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps. Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
I think he was trying to hook up with that girl next to him earlier that night.
He didn't.
That's what a lot of people were saying.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Everybody here, this side appreciates it, I believe. They just don't want to admit that. Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history, and we quickly achieved the lowest numbers of illegal border crossers ever recorded. Thank you. The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Boom.
Thank you. Joe Biden didn't just open our borders, he flew illegal aliens over them to overwhelm our schools, hospitals, and communities throughout the country. Entire towns like Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio, buckled under the weight of the migrant occupation and corruption like nobody's ever seen before. Beautiful towns destroyed. Now, just as I promised in my inaugural address, we are achieving the great liberation of America. Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries. And so on April 2nd, I wanted to make it April 1st, but I didn't want to be accused of April Fool's Day. That's not, just one day was cost us a lot of money. But we're going to do it in April. I'm a very superstitious person. April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them. That's reciprocal. We are going to rediscover the unstoppable power of the American spirit. And we are going to renew unlimited promise of the American dream. Every single day we will stand up and we will fight, fight, fight for the country our citizens believe in and for the country our people deserve. My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
There you have it. Just some highlights from the speech. Now, I thought this was probably one of his best speeches of all time. Absolutely loved it. Some other key things from that. I don't know how Al Green. I don't know how Texas voted that guy in. He's from Texas.
Is he in Houston or Austin?
I don't know. Yeah, probably, more than likely. So, and the other takeaway is, the Democrats did not stand for not one thing, not for the kid with cancer, no, the women that lost children due to the migration crisis of people coming across the border, nothing. And they were sitting there with their little stupid little ping pong paddle signs, which was freaking.
Gotta interrupt you. They did stand for more money to Ukraine.
Oh yeah, they did clap for that. More money to Ukraine.
And we got the epic Pocahontas comment, which wasn't in that highlight reel.
Yeah, that was another epic moment. Yeah, Pocahontas, she wants to keep it going. But yeah, I thought it was great. Yeah. We basically, me and Mike basically got fixed ourselves some drinks that night. We're like, it's game time. Let's go. Enjoyed the whole thing. But y'all's quick thoughts on the speech Tuesday night. Culture.
Well, thought it was a great speech. I think it kind of preempted a lot of work that got done the rest of this week as far as a lot of channels. It's difficult when you have the opportunity to cover something that's not in your wheelhouse to not cover something that's not in your wheelhouse as far as YouTube's concerned. So
yeah,
it does get a little frustrating. I enjoyed the speech. I thought Trump was spot on. I don't think anybody can argue with that. I think the overall tone was very measured for him. Outside of the Pocahontas speech or element, I think that he was very kind to the disrespectful group in the room. I think it did irreparable harm to the Democratic Party, or at least for the next election cycle or two. A lot of people had indicated they're walking away from that political party because they act like a bunch of children with no ideas. And that's it's hard to argue with them.
They act that way.
I don't know, or maybe they are that way. Regardless, it's just every single moment of that speech drove home a point. The fact that he had to pause so often for applause was always going to be built in. And I cannot remember the secret scholar. What's his name? The fellow that was a teacher that got booted out. Anyway, he's got a YouTube channel. And he was commenting on the speech, and he's right. From the very moment that Trump started speaking, he was setting them up to either walk out of the room, that was the one, or to sit there and look foolish and silly. So they had two choices, and most of them elected to sit there and look foolish and silly. And it was interesting. I feel like overall, though, we have to actually accomplish things. There can't just be like little wins here and there. There has to be something accomplished. And today we actually had some arrests. So I think some things are going to be accomplished. So looking forward to that. And I do agree. It was an epic speech. John?
Yeah, I agree. You want to get more accomplished. Obviously, he's accomplished a ton. I mean, he talked about all the accomplishments he's already made, a lot of the executive orders. I think the real test for the executive orders is going to be how they stand up with all of the lawfare that's going to take place. We're already seeing numerous challenges to some of his executive orders. I just did a story today about these like 4 queer theaters suing the administration over the stopping of the funding for anything that's promoting gender ideology. So, and you're going to see that across the board. So hopefully the court system rules in favor of the Trump administration.
As long as Amy, stupid idiot, isn't rolling on it, we're going to be fine. She is the worst decision ever made. She's a compromised piece of garbage. But hey.
Yes. Otherwise, I thought it was really good. I loved that. I mean, as you said, you described Trump as measured. I would say that he kind of stayed on script. Obviously, he read a lot from the teleprompter, but he did a really good job of I don't know if there's like prompts for where he should like turn, but like obviously when there were clearly jabs that he was taking at the Democrats, he would literally turn and it looked like he was like just staring them down.
Yeah,
I think that was one of my favorite parts there. It's just like the body language and how he was just kind of challenging them and just showing them that like how small they kind of are as well. Obviously, him being 6'3" helps, and then he's obviously elevated and everything too. So I actually really like that part. Was intriguing for me. As far as like my favorite part, or I guess like the things that kind of stood out, was the fact that he talked about all the things that they'd already done, all the executive orders. And obviously, I don't even think we talked about most of them. So I was pretty pleased for the most part with the speech and everything that happened. It was a runaway win. I feel like I'm underselling it right there, but it was awesome.
Yep, I agree. Real quick, Debbie Young has gifted 5 Echo Base Network memberships. Hail to you, Debbie. Good to see you. Thank you so much, and welcome to the 5 new people who have joined the EBN member family. We also got the most consistent man on the interwebs, Graph Web, for $2. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus. 100%. I, again, have never subscribed to Disney Plus. Never. Not a day in my life. And then I did want to highlight this, Venger. Pocahontas, is that a racist insult to that politician? So Venger, he's across the pond, so he probably doesn't know the story. But
I thought he was being sarcastic.
No, so I don't think he actually really knows. But so basically, the Pocahontas politician, what's her name?
Elizabeth
Warren.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, so she basically came out years ago, basically said that she was like Indian. I think she had like
wrote it on her Harvard application or whatever it was.
Yeah.
One of their Ivy League application that she was Native American.
Yeah, that she was Native American, and she's clearly a white person. So Trump started calling her Pocahontas just to troll her, which I think is funny and epic all at the same time. So, yeah, Elizabeth Warren, yeah. So yeah, that's the reason he says calls her Pocahontas. She's not really Indian, but she claims to be, but clearly she's not. So, anyways,
I think there was
guys,
a DNA test too that like showed she was like she had no Native American DNA, or if she did, it was like super minuscule. It was,
yeah.
do you recall that culture?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do remember something about that years and years ago.
All I know is she's a liar. She's a proven
Yeah.
liar, and she is well, just a terrible, reprehensible human being. And I want to know, based on her salary, how she has $63 million in the bank. Can somebody
Not
explain
only
that to
her,
me?
but several of these politicians.
Okay.
Even the Republican side, like
Yeah, both
Oh yeah.
anybody who's has a salary going into this office and then comes out a multimillionaire are obviously getting some backdoor deals, handouts. That sort of crap needs to stop. And I hope the Trump administration does that. But time will tell. We'll see what happens. Moving on. This is the other story I wanted to hit. Is this the one you were thinking that I was hitting on, Culture? Dark Forces, Star Wars
No.
Dark Forces. It's 30 years old now. This game
Wow.
came out 30 years ago, and I remember.
I have it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I remember that the demo came out, which was just the first board. It was level 1 was the demo for this game, and my dad got a copy of the demo at work because his work that he had what was called a T1 line back then, which was like the fastest internet you could get back in the day, and
I remember that. Yeah,
only corporations and businesses had these T1 lines going
I
into
remember
their
that. Yeah.
modern day home internet is way faster than that nowadays, but back in the day that was called T1 lines, and he had one at work, so he was actually able to get a copy of this demo, brought it home to me, and I played the shit out of this demo. Multiple times I was running around, shooting stormtroopers, and this is, of course, before crappy Disney Star Wars and Rogue One, which for the most part I like Rogue One, but I'm a sucker for nostalgia bait. I loved the last 30 minutes of that movie. Other parts of the movie, not so much. Would I've rather had this Kyle Katarn series be the Rogue One storyline? 100%. I absolutely love this game. Uh, you know, this article right here talks about how it was sort of like a Doom clone, and that was back when Doom, Wolfenstein 3D, all those early first person shooter games were coming out. But yeah, it came out in 1995 on PC. It's been remastered. You can get it on PC and the remastered version on PC and consoles now. But the great storyline. The graphics, of course, are very dated. But I think I have not played the remaster, but I think the remaster cleaned this up quite a bit. I don't think it's this choppy and blocky anymore. But it had awesome cutscenes. Kyle Katarn was a great character, and then they came out with several sequels to this game, Dark Forces 2, in the Jedi Knight series that followed those, where he basically becomes a Jedi. But this was a great game. I have a lot of fond memories of this, and happy birthday to Star Wars Dark Forces, the real Rogue One, before Disney took over. Culture, thoughts on this game? Did you play it? Do you have any
Yeah.
nostalgia for this game?
Yeah,
Right.
I have nostalgia for all Star Wars games, but I was back in the day playing everything I could that said Star Wars on it. Didn't matter if it was on PC or on the Nintendo 64 or whatever it happened to be. I was playing it all, and I do remember Forces. I remember that fondly. I remember the days of having to wait forever to get wares on your computer, whether it be a fractional T1 or not. So yeah, the kind of nostalgia I've been having lately is just to go back and play through all my retro stuff, whether that be a Coleco, Intellivision, the VIC 20. I mean, there were, and just
I had
moving up
Commodore
through all those.
64.
Yeah, Commodore 64 with the tape drive, and then eventually the disc drive. The tape drive was actually left over from the VIC 20 days, but it was it's kind of fun to go back and just kind of just enjoy all of that old stuff. And I've got obviously a MAME cabinet that I utilize and a couple of full arcade cabinets that I have in the garage. But going back and playing all those old games, just remembering how important it was, despite the fact that the blocks were the things you were looking at on some of these games. There were pixels, or you had sprites maybe if you were lucky and stuff like that. It was kind of a fun time. Vector graphics was the thing. I don't know. I mean, it's so fun to go back and look at that and just say, wow, we thought this was high res and amazing back then, and in comparison, it just looks like a bunch of boxes. I don't know, John. What do you think? Did you ever play any of the Star Wars games?
No, I didn't really play this game, so I don't really have any memories or nostalgia for it. I think I played KOTOR, but that was after it had come out, a long time after it came out. I didn't really play a lot of Star Wars games. I mainly watched the movies, and that was kind of my Star Wars fandom. I think I had the Phantom Menace maybe novelization, and so I read that book too. But so anything that was kind of outside of the movie continuity, I didn't really engage in until I was older.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are gonna move along to Culture's topic. What are you hitting on, Culture? Well, before you do that, though, if you gotta get anything ready, real quick, I want to hit Zombie Box Reviews. Another one of our great moderators here. For two, I believe that's pounds, right? Not euros.
Yeah, that's great British pounds sterling. Yeah.
Yeah. Liz White Swallow. Yeah, she's terrible. She's terrible. Thank you so much for that super chat, and thank you guys for the other super chats that you sent us.
Well, I was gonna mention a story that you didn't mention, but did you know that the 1977 Star Wars film was available in its entirety from Roku's Streambox channel, and then it disappeared, and so did the channel.
Really?
I saw that.
Yeah.
I did not hear about this.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I didn't catch the story long enough to grab it, but I just thought it was interesting because we were talking about Star Wars. That's the story I thought you were going to be talking about. So.
Oh no, I had not heard that.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be talking about that one.
But thank you guys for all your continued support, super chats. This super chat video of Real Star Wars is for you guys.
That music is so incongruent with that clip. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yep. Coach actually made those.
I like the music. I thought it
was. Mike, we cannot start over. You're gonna have to rewind. Yeah. All right, Culture. What do you got for us today?
Interestingly enough, there were 20 stories I could have picked from rather easily.
There's a lot happening today on a Friday.
Yeah, but I'm gonna put it this way: Hollywood is doomed because they are so stuck in sequelitis or threequelitis, or I don't know, John. What do you call it? It's a nightmare of just repeat garbage. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway,
and then when they do these reboots or they take IP, it's woke trash. So
Yeah, they're just wrecking it. Michael Bay's calling it out. He's not the only one. So what's really interesting about this story and why I brought it is because the other director that's mentioned. But nobody wants to
Yeah.
greenlight anything. Any creative, creative's dead. They don't do that anymore. So if you're wondering for some odd reason where Michael Bay's been, well, he can't get anybody to make a movie.
He did that ambulance movie though, didn't he?
Yeah, it was terrible, and that's not his fault. Well, yeah, it was his fault, but it was terrible. Anyway, Bay tells the Hollywood Reporter that he recently had to call a call with a certain famous director, where they mourned the current state of Hollywood and wondered what in the heck is actually happening. Well, it turns out that was James Cameron. He said, I just had a conference call with Jim Cameron, and we're both commiserating about Hollywood. No one can greenlight anything anymore. It's just so slow. It's a very different business. Bay adds that one of the projects he's failed to get off the ground is Black 5, which has been described as an ensemble thriller that centers on an elite military team with an advanced technology. Bay does not.
Cool.
It does have the project in the pipeline, Fast and Loose, with Will Smith and set up over at Netflix, but he says that the film isn't necessarily a done deal until he actually witnesses cameras rolling with his own eyes. Until it's going, it's not going. And this is something that a lot of directors and a lot of people in the inside have been talking about. They aren't pushing films out anymore. Like right now, John, how many? There's like 50. There's only 35 films in theaters last weekend, right? It was something historically low.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought you knew that.
I don't know anything about that. Sorry.
Okay, so
I haven't heard anything about it,
but it doesn't surprise me. I mean, we kind of saw this was coming, right?
Yeah.
They had the strike and everything like that. They were still coming out of COVID, where cost run-ups and everything. And then you just look at the kind of the returns they're getting on some of these movies. Just look at what the Disney tentpoles are getting. I mean, you can look at Captain America, Brave New World, Snow White film that's coming out here. It's going to bomb. All of these like movies that they're spending tons of money on are not doing well. And you look at the Netflix model, they are pumping a ton of capital behind a lot of different television shows, projects, etc. And they seem to be doing pretty well over there with their with what they're doing. So I think there's lots of different factors, obviously, at work here. But I mean, clearly, we kind of saw that the production would kind of slow down with the new contracts and everything that they came to with the Writers Guild and the actors.
It costs so much to make a movie now that it's really hard for them to even take a risk because they're terrified. They're terrified. If they take a risk,
I'm not sure if that's true, right? I mean, you look at
Disney doesn't seem terrified. They keep pushing out crap that's super overly inflated.
Remakes.
The cost run-ups are like specific to these like big studios, because I mean, you look at something like The Beekeeper with the Jason Statham movie that came out last year.
Sure,
they kept their budget really low, $30-40 million, made a bunch of profit, and it looks like the upcoming A Working Man film, which Jason Statham stars in as well, which is a adaptation of Chuck Dixon's first Levon Cade novel. I mean, it's looking like that's going to make a bunch of money too, because they're able to like make the film for $30-40 million. But I mean, it seems like it's certain studios, certain people that are having these cost overruns, and the way that they operate. Even James Gunn kind of talks about it. They don't have scripts, and they just try to go to production without having scripts, and they're changing things on the fly. I remember the Joker director was talking about how that's what he was doing on the set of the first Joker, that they just completely were just making things up as they went. So that seems to almost be standard practice now. We're on set, a bunch of money. Let's just try to put something together.
Well, and back then he was only spending $55 million on that film, you know. And look, when you look at, and you're right. I mean, you have A24 and Neon and a few of these smaller studios that are making films for this money and making profitable movies. But back in the day, we would call them B movies. They're making B movies again. That's what they're doing.
And the B movies seem to be better than the AAA movies that are coming out in theaters.
I mean, B movies is like what I loved. I loved all of the action thrillers like Con Air, Red October. I mean, like that was like my bread and butter, like Terminator, all those like The Rock. like the
Yeah.
like the Nicolas Cage
Yeah, but
movies,
those weren't-
man. I was a sucker for all the Bruce Willis movies,
those-
Die Hard. Like I
those
love those
weren't-
movies.
Those weren't B movies. I'm glad you loved them, but they weren't B movies. I'm talking about real B movies. But anyway, the
Like
point
straight
being,
to home
You're
video.
talking about like the Von Damme films, then, right?
yeah, the
Okay.
real B movies. I mean, look, I mean, action movies were a big winner. And they're mid-budget usually. Lots of blowing things up with real blowing things up stuff, not fake blowing things stuff up. Because that costs more money to fake blow something up. Believe it or not, costs more money than to actually blow something up. Anyway, back to it real quick. Michael Bay, not exactly the greatest filmmaker in the world, but he's not the worst. And
The Rock
obviously,
is fantastic.
yeah.
Yes,
And Ambulance was not great, but 600 Ground was awesome. That was really well done, and that was a Netflix movie. Obviously, all
Didn't he
of
do Pearl Harbor?
no, that was I don't think it was him. Hang on, I don't remember.
No, I don't
Ben
think so.
Affleck? Or was that James Cameron?
Pearl Harbor was bigger. It was
Michael Bay. You're right.
Wow,
I
wow.
thought
good
it
memory,
was.
dude.
I
Oh,
thought
with
it
Randall
was.
Wallace, the guy who's
And-
writing the
And that
Mel
was
Gibson movie, who
and
wrote
that was
Braveheart and We
stupid.
Were Soldiers. Yeah.
That was stupid expensive. I should have known it was him. But 140 million in 2001 is what they spent to do that one. Anyway, the whole point is, and I think this is correct, and thank goodness for World of Rio putting this together, so I didn't have to use the Hollywood Reporter. We're at a standstill. They're going to make remakes, threequels, repeats, live action adaptation, garbage sauce. Just keep it up. And I don't think we'll see another decent take a risk movie for a while because they're terrified. It costs so much to make a movie now. So yeah, I liked Armageddon. I'm a weird person though, but
Yeah. I
anyway, I just thought I would share this with you guys and say it's not just him. It's Cameron as well. And this is a guy that's going to be stuck making 5 more freaking Avatar movies or some such.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, I agree, and I think you can see it in the theaters because I mean, out of the last couple of years, what are a couple big huge blockbusters we had? Deadpool, Wolverine. How many other ones? Yeah, the
Moana
point is
2, I think. What, right? Didn't that do like $1 billion?
yeah. There hasn't been a whole lot. Like, do you remember back in the day when like summer movie time hit? It's like, man, there's like 4 or 5 movies coming out during summertime. Like, I want to see all these. And now it's like all year round, for me personally, anyways, there might be 2, maybe 3 that I'm really want to even see that's in the theater anymore. Most of the stuff's on streaming
0.
services. Yeah, well, John's even lower than me. He's at 0. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the point I'm trying to make here is going to the movies and these big budget action, fun, comedy, drama, whatever kind of films that people are into were seem to be pretty plentiful. And now it's there might be a couple that you're really interested in seeing in a year's time.
I just
Yeah, I
know
mean,
that-
I think there's obviously a lot of factors, right? I think you can like point to the ideological messaging that we've seen in all of these movies, right? Like people are
Yeah.
sick and tired of it, getting beat over the head with it, or even if it's just more subtle, they're just sick and tired of it. Whether it's like obvious like lecturing or a piece of dialogue, or it's the way they cast certain films and things like that. I think probably even the Dune casting with Zendaya and stuff like that probably turned a lot of people off. And then the way they're like changing the stories, thinking that they can do it better. I think that's a big problem too. So I mean, I think that's, and then obviously the price has just gotten out of control.
So
it's way expensive now to go to the movies, especially if you have a family, and you plan on buying any popcorn or anything like that. It's just that's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Can you imagine like a family of like 5, taking your wife and 3 kids to the theater and then buying popcorn, drinks, everything, candy, whatever, snacks. I mean, it costs you a fortune to go.
Yeah, I mean, what is the average price? I mean, I think the number says it's like $14, but I think it's probably closer to like what, $18, $17 culture.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, medium price you're looking across the country is somewhere around $18 now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's the current day matinee prices?
You probably you can probably get in for right around $12 after tax and fees. So yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go see this stupid Snow White movie on the 20th. I'm
Why?
I'm gonna have to see it too because
why? No, you don't. You don't have to go see that.
Yes, we do.
We had to for HCast.
Named Nate. He's
so
he's like
Nate's
he
making
must
us
Just
watch
tell him I
stuff.
didn't see it.
Yeah.
It's trash.
Yeah. So yeah, if you guys aren't subbed to Mr. H Reviews, you guys can catch me and Culture over there on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we'll be reviewing the crappy Snow White film. I'm
anyway,
definitely taking alcohol in there with me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And anyway, that's the whole point of me bringing this out here is because there's a lot of Hollywood is crashing stories right now. This is one of many. Lionsgate is closing up a lot of television stuff that they're doing, and they're having a fire sale. You've got, I mean, I could go through the industry right now and just point out story after story of like studios closing and everything. But I do the same thing in gaming now too. Gaming studios are closing faster than I anticipated. I guessed again this year that we'd lose, somewhere between 10 and 12 studios, and we're going to be halfway through the year, and we're going to lose already.
We're already there.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck, man? What's going on? It's just getting worse and worse, and it's because they allowed themselves to fall into the easy mode way of doing things that was all politically directed and linked, and that is being just rejected across the board. So I feel bad for Michael Bay, but all he needs to know is in about another 2 or 3 years, they're going to be looking for what he does, and that's all he needs to worry.
I think that's already kind of happening, right? I mean, again, I point to The Beekeeper and A Working Man. We're seeing those are doing well. You can look at Netflix with Extraction and Hemsworth. I mean, even if you look at what is the Netflix top? I think they had like that Uncharted adaptation was on there, and like obviously, I don't think that was good, but like that's like an action film, and I think there is something to that. And right now,
did you guys see The Gorge on
Netflix
Apple TV?
No, nobody watches Apple TV.
Oh, it was pretty good.
That's great, but you're one of like 8 people who use Apple TV, so well done.
I don't have Apple TV.
Next, you're going to tell me about For All Mankind. So, yeah. Coach watches that, and he said it was good, but I have not seen it. But I don't have any subscription services. I actually have an app that allows me to. You just sponge off your friends.
Yeah,
okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's I'm just looking at the top 10 Netflix movies right now in the United States. There's a movie called like Counterattack, and it's a bunch of dudes that look like they're grizzled soldiers with a bunch of AKs. Like, I have no idea what it is, but it looks like some like action thriller movie.
I will say this. India makes great movies. They make some real crap, but they also make some great movies.
Sicario's number 8. So, I mean,
that was good.
It's old.
Yeah, Avenger. We covered that on HCast yesterday. If we have time, I might show it and get. Well, John's he hasn't really seen Aliens, so he wouldn't really have any thoughts on it. But yeah, just real quick. Yeah, I saw it.
I watched the Alien vs Predator.
Yeah. So Alien Earth did a video clip, promotional marketing clip that they dropped of Cat Cam that had all the original sound effects and bells and whistles of the originals, and so yeah, it was cool marketing material. Saw it and I liked it. I'm iffy on the show, but I'm also excited to see what they do with it, and I hope I really like it. All right, so let's hit the super chat. Did you guys have anything else you guys wanted to add on?
I mean, I guess I would. The only thing is like I'm not sure if I actually agree with Michael Bay here, and obviously, I mean, maybe he's talking about like what's happening right now in 2025 and maybe a little bit in 2024. But I remember just like a couple of years ago, and I think Culture, you can back me up on this. Who's the guy that was making all those horror movies?
Which one?
He owns the company. He owns that company, and he makes all these low budget horror
Oh,
films. They got him to do like they cut him some like massive $500 million deal to like make some trilogy for Peacock or something.
James Wan.
No, it wasn't James Wan. It was the other guy.
The one from Blumhouse.
Jason Blum.
Yeah.
It was him. They just threw a ton of money at him because that was when we had the big streaming fire sale, and he was like, "These people are idiots." I mean, he was saying it at the time. He's like, "Well, if they're going to throw all this money at me, I might as well like take the deal. I would never do this. This is stupid." But I mean, that's what we saw. I mean, we just had a report today from the Hollywood Reporter saying that they paid about $1 billion to Barbara Broccoli and what's his name, Michael Wilson, to basically give up creative control over James Bond, so they can basically wokify that over at Amazon MGM Studios. So the idea that there isn't still a lot of cash to go around and they're not throwing stuff is, I think there's evidence to kind of counter what Michael Bay is saying. I think Netflix just talked about how they have massive amounts of money that they plan to invest just this year. And they even said that it could go even higher.
18 billion.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a ton of money. So there's clearly stuff getting greenlit. I mean, look at Lucasfilm. They greenlit The Acolyte. We know what Marvel was doing. They were greenlighting all of these like garbage shows that were constantly performing worse and worse and worse. And obviously when you even compare based on the fact that Disney Plus's subscriptions were going up in the US and the views were going down, it's like, why are you still doing stuff like this? I mean, so stuff was getting greenlit, and even if you look at the Lucasfilm and the Marvel model, they were greenlighting it based off of like an idea for the most part, especially like Secret Invasion, where the director or the showrunner is telling us, yeah, I'm cutting together like the final episode as the first 2 episodes had just premiered. It's like, what are you doing? You like, what? you're cutting it together? Like, you don't know what the story is? Like, what is happening here? So, I mean, they're clearly greenlighting a bunch of stuff. It just has absolutely, completely and utterly failed for the most part.
Yeah, and I will say this to add to that, that's actually not uncommon in television, or used to not be. They would be cutting episode 24 when episode 16 was airing. So it used to happen all the time. And again, if you have good continuity, all of your scripts are laid out, you have kind of the storylines and the overarching stuff together. I mean, then you were good to go. I have a feeling that we've seen more of that than we realized. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think they were just winging it. I mean, James Gunn, again, I go back to James Gunn. He talks about how Marvel just wings it and just changes things on the fly. And I think we've seen a lot of that in recent interviews too, from other people talking about things like that. So obviously they've said they've changed things and they're going back to a more traditional model, beginning with this Daredevil Born Again series. So we'll see what actually happens with that, and whether or not this traditional model improves the quality. I have a feeling it will not.
Yeah, I still have not seen the new Daredevil yet. I'm gonna watch it probably at some point this weekend and be able to hit on it next week. But I don't know. I'm hearing mixed things on it. Some people thought it was complete trash. Other people really enjoyed it. So
I thought the first half of the first episode, which is all the farther I've been, was it felt pretty good, but it's not 100% faithful to the Netflix series, which I think is the only downside so far for me. But after I get through these episodes, I'll kind of spell out what I think overall. I'm hesitant to pick up anything these days, and I'm sure John understands that, because it's just so trash. It's awful. Why?
Yeah. All right, before we hit John's topic, let me knock out some of these super chats here. Fletcher Williams, I suck at games channel for $4.99. What merch company would you recommend for new creators? Gracias. Culture, I think you could speak on this. Don't you got some merch company ideas?
Yeah. I'm not going to plug my own right now because we can't take anybody else on at the moment. But we're getting ready to be able to do that more efficiently, because I'm going to start working with some other channels. But I mean, Mixed Teas is really good. The biggest problem that I see is the lack of control that you have over your gear when you use something like the spring. What's that called? Something spring, Teespring.
Teesprings. Yeah, which
Teespring,
we had.
you're stuck to forever. You don't
Yeah.
even realize it when you sign up, and like you have to literally take down all the items from your store in order to just like stop them from bugging you. They are inconsistent about payouts.
They kicked us out.
They that's the other thing that happens to you.
Yeah.
You know, if
For
they think
politics stuff, or
no, if they think
No.
your designs are too close to like original stuff,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
they were
Yeah.
Star Wars, so anything that looked like Star
copyright.
Wars,
Yeah.
which it wasn't always true. It's the same thing they did with Drunk 3PO, which was ridiculous. But regardless,
Yeah, the rebellion shirts. Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, get back to well, that was 9line. They're safe with that. But
Okay.
yeah, his moved and that's why he moved to 9line. To be fair, his Teespring was garbage. But no, it's like your safest bet's mixed tees. The guys over there do a great job. They're friends of mine. I know them all. You probably know them too. You just don't know, and I won't spoil it. You know, they try to keep a low profile on that. But mixed tees is great, and then like I said, when we get into a position where we can take on more people, we will. It's not cheap. If you want a good high quality t-shirt, that's one thing. If you look at why it takes so long for a setup of something, it's because you're getting high quality material. You're getting a good t-shirt material. You're getting a good ink and everything else. And if you start to go into
Texas cotton,
lots of different variations. I mean, you can get what do you call this
Egyptian
stuff?
cotton.
Yeah, the wicking material. You can get really nice things, but it does cost money. And your setup that's the other thing. You can, if you get free setup, it's going to take even longer than if you pay for the setup. You need to have your own designs. They need to be high quality and high resolution designs to be successful. And a lot of times, even with the Teespring, they wash out. They fade. They fall apart. It just depends. And when you were looking for something like this kind of a logo, that high quality that I have on my hat, this is from our company.
Yeah.
And we don't even do the actual work. We just do all the marketing and all the other setup stuff, and we test your designs and the whole 9 yards, but we still have to outsource the actual production. So it just is it's just we do it with some high quality vendors, and we don't use one vendor. There's not a one vendor solves all the problems kind of thing. There's no such thing. One vendor does not fit all. So if you want good quality hats, you go one place. If you want good quality t-shirts, you go somewhere else. We don't we're able to produce water bottles and all kinds of other stuff that you won't find on a lot of people's channels. So just consider what you're asking for. If you just want to get like a supporter t-shirt and supporter hats, Teespring will work just fine. Just understand that may not be the longest quality solution for you long term.
Yeah, another one was mixed tees, right?
Yeah, mixed tees is the best. But if you had to pick between mixed tees and Teespring, mixed tees is your winner.
Yeah. All right. Hope that answered your question, Fletcher. Thank you for the super chat. No. Debbie Young, next year, remember from 48 months, next year will be just as bad because of the California fires. I don't know how much do you think those California fires will affect Hollywood? Because a lot of stuff's not even done in Hollywood anymore.
Yeah, but okay, so like the 17 blocks that are considered Hollywood in California aren't really where you're seeing a lot of the production done, especially for the like on location stuff that wants to be close to their home studio. Like for example, Fallout, right? Fallout was actually being done in the California area. So they actually had to stop production for like a couple of weeks during those fires. But ultimately, if you think about it, you're seeing so much stuff shot in Georgia now and in New Mexico and Arizona and Texas and Florida. It's like the southern states are really turning into production hubs for these studios because it's less expensive. It's so expensive to make something in California. and that's really the thing that's the governing principle there. And you're not wrong, Deborah. You're 100% right. With the problems in California, it slowed down everything. It's going to continue to slow down stuff because a lot of stuff.
I mean,
is
you've
shot.
also.
Go ahead.
I was going to say you also see a lot of people going to Eastern Europe, look at The Witcher and things like that, where they're filming over there. And then I think there's stuff happening in Italy. I feel like Italy's movie production has kind of ramped up in the last couple of years as well too.
I think you'll see Italy start to ramp up. I think Greece is going to come back into play. I think there's there's like somewhere in the it's not in the Russian area. A lot of stuff's being done there because the architecture is more interesting. We have neo-Marxist construction now, so everything looks like the Obama library, and it's falling apart.
For Chicago, Chicago still has some pretty cool stuff. Batman movies, right?
Yeah, they
Arkham, like the Nolan's Batman movies have some pretty cool stuff.
Sure. But now, I mean, if you see anyway, the architecture is just more interesting. Not in this country, so there's.
You're not gonna. What is the in New York? They have like the iron building or whatever, right? The iron handle looks like an iron. No, so it's at like the corner. There's like it's like shaped like an iron.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Oh, you're talking about you're talking about the presidential hotel or whatever it's called. What's it in John Wick?
Yeah.
The Continental
Iron Building. It's called the Flat Iron Building. Yeah.
I knew what you were talking about. I'm trying to think. The last time I saw something like that was the Continental. But by the way, nobody owns that, or at least I guess it was in bankruptcy or something. Something weird was going on with that building. It's got a strange history.
It's a cool looking building. DC still has cool architecture for the most part. Well, all the old stuff, right?
Yeah, but who wants to go to DC? You get robbed. Like you shouldn't see. That's so fun.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal there.
I mean, if you go to like rural areas or like small towns, there's still some cool stuff in like some of the small towns and things like that. But city-wise, I think you're absolutely right. It all looks the same.
Yeah, well, Virginia is beautiful.
I'm not in Virginia anymore. I'm in North Carolina.
No, I know, but Virginia's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah. Monticello. We got all of the history and everything there.
Yeah, North Carolina is great, except for now it's woke AF, dude. Especially in what do you call that stupid city?
Raleigh.
Oh yeah. We had an office there. I've been there.
Charlotte's not better anymore. Charlotte's getting woke AF too. Anyway,
it's because of all the Yankees that came down here.
Yeah, that was because they moved the financial industry down there. Because they're like
that too.
New York sucks.
Davis from 499. Hey folks, I've officially uninstalled and quit Star Wars: The Old Republic. Here's some money.
Here's some money.
Here's some money that would have been used on a subscription. Hail Davish, thank you so much for that.
Thank
brother.
you.
I've not ever played Star Wars: The Old Republic, but everyone keeps telling me I need to play Knights of the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic, and Knights of the Old Republic 2. I think for the most part, among Star Wars fans, are pretty well loved games, and I've not played them. So at some point in time, I probably will check those out. Zombie Box Reviews. Bay should make live action movie Mako Mermaids. You guys don't get the reference he's talking about, do you?
No, I don't.
I'll give you the quick backstory. So people were getting on Coach's ass about him subscribing to Disney Plus. Well, he got rid of Disney Plus, and his wife and his daughters were like, well, hey, we're watching this show on there or something. And he was like, all right, I guess I'll resubscribe to it because they want to watch their crap on it. Well, one of the shows that he always saw him watching was a show called Mako Mermaids that he thought was on Disney Plus, but apparently I guess it's on Netflix. He don't pay attention to what their little crap shows are on. And so he was like, I got it because they wanted to watch some Mako Mermaid show or something, because he assumed that that's what they were watching on there when that was actually on another streaming service. They're watching something else on Disney Plus. And so now a bunch of people are giving Coach a bunch of crap about, oh, Coach lied. Like, oh, he's saying he subscribes to Disney Plus because his daughters watch Mako Mermaids and that show's not even on there. Like, liar, he's fake and all this crap, and it's really comical and dumb, but funny at the same time. So that's what that's just a quick backstory of that. Anyways, Debbie Young for $9.99. We always have discount days on Tuesday for $6.50. For those of you that
Nice.
don't know, Debbie works at the movie theater.
Nice.
Also, Senior Day on Wednesday for $7.50. Our matinees are $9. Okay.
Is that a matinee or is that like a film for moms and their kids? It says maternity.
Maternity or not? Yeah. So yeah.
I think she meant matinees. I think she meant matinees.
I do know that there are certain theaters that have
really
screenings on certain days for stay-at-home moms to bring their kids.
Wow. All right.
So, Debbie, clarify in chat. Did you mean matinee or maternity? Like pregnant women get in for $9.
Well, just moms.
Matinees are $9, like moms.
You don't have to be. Yeah. You don't have to be You don't have to be pregnant to be maternal.
Yeah.
So you think you can already have the kids?
So yeah, we'll wait and see if she's still in chat and clarifies. $9 wouldn't be a bad matinee price though. But anyways, thank you for those super chats, guys. This super chat video is for you.
So Mediator has decided 1 point Valiant Renegade. That is a very, very valid argument. Okay.
Bring me some pizza rolls.
What you're really saying, Valiant, though,
may the force be with you. For me to Papa.
Oh, that was a fun night. Let's see. Okay, Debbie says okay, must never piss off moms or kids. I did mean matinee. Okay. So yeah, I figured that's what she meant when I was reading it, but
I wasn't sure because I have heard of those.
Yeah, the people that yeah. All right. Last topic of the day, guys.
Last topic. I thought you said you had one too. I guess
no. I hit the Trump thing and I hit.
You did. Okay. Okay.
Forces. Those were my two at the beginning.
Yeah, so we're talking about Daredevil Born Again, so I decided to just go with this one because I thought it would be a good transition, but then we went to the super chat, so the transition completely failed. But but yeah, so I mean, this just came out. I think today they did an interview with the folks over at IGN. He seems to confirm the rumor that the Punisher will hunt dirty cops wearing his logo in the show. I guess there's evidence in the first episode where one of these police officers, if you scroll, I guess I can scroll down. He has the Punisher tattoo on his forearm right there, his wrist. And so that's going to be the Punisher storyline. And the guy basically says the tattoo should be a hint. There's a Frank Castle storyline that is, I think, deep and rich and has been begging to be told. It was in one of the comics. Frank's appearance is not random. Comes back to your earlier question of who is a vigilante, who's good, who's bad. And Frank is one of those incredibly galvanizing characters. And Frank comes into our world with a purpose. That purpose is executed. Does it have something to do with these men that we see in that apartment? Yes. So obviously there was this rumor from Daniel Rickman over a year ago, January 28, 2024, saying that the Punisher is going to have his own subplot in the series where he hunts dirty cops who use a symbol. And Scarta Payne is saying that. He was even asked how concerning it is to him to make this story given the polarizing times we live in. And he said, it's incredibly important to me, and I think it's incredibly important to Marvel. And I know it's incredibly important to John, obviously referring to John Bernthal, the actor who plays the character. And that discussion and that dichotomy and that, for lack of a better word, the feelings, emotions, and conversations about that specific topic is tackled in this season. And I think it's tackled really well. And I think John in particular knows how to voice that discussion probably better than anybody. So it's likely this storyline by Matthew Rosenberg from like 2019, where these police officers basically pull over the Punisher. They find out that it's actually Frank Castle. They're like, can we please take a selfie? Yada, yada, yada. And Frank is like, take this symbol off of your car or whatever. How dare you like use this? This isn't what the police should be doing. et cetera, and like does the whole like virtue signal in the comic, which is part and parcel to the whole like Jerry Conway, Punisher creator, trying to reclaim the symbol for Black Lives Matter, and all of the political blogs like whining about the Punisher symbol and how it's being used by armed forces and et cetera, and how terrible that is and how bad that is. Even Bernthal said this in 2021, referring to people that were protesting the election results in 2020 on January 6th, saying, "These people are misguided, lost, and afraid. They have nothing to do with what Frank stands for or is about. Big love." So we posted that in 2021, but obviously he would change his tune last year, telling Collider, "I think there's a reason why that character has resonated as deeply and strongly as he has in the hearts and minds of comic book fans and first responders and people in the military and people all over the globe. I think there's a little bit of Frank Castle in everybody. He exists very strongly inside me, and I care about that character deeply. I also know that's absolutely essential that if we do it right. We have real sacred integrity to the source material and to what is at the core of Frank. I'm going to do my absolute best to make sure of that. If and when we do it right." So obviously they did do it, but I mean, Chuck Dixon, longtime Punisher writer, has talked about how Marvel's been just savaging the Punisher, destroying him throughout the comic book runs recently. So the main reason they wanted to get rid of the Punisher is because they hated the Punisher and they hate us for liking it. It's that simple. And then I think they just in a recent comic, Ultimates number 10, they've turned it into like a Nazi symbol now. It's being used as like American Nazi symbol. It's so hard for me to think that they are not going to be pushing an agenda with the Punisher storyline and using it to push their leftist agenda, likely trying to paint this kind of anti-cop storyline. And I doubt that there'll be any good cops or anything like that. So, because that's what these people do. And they do it over and over and over again. So I was actually thinking about checking this out. This came out and I was like, I'm not going to waste my time. Just,
did you like the original Netflix Punisher?
So I didn't watch the third season, but because I tried to watch like the beginning of the third season, I just thought it dragged on. Like it was taking too long to like get into it with that first episode. I think the second season is hit or miss. I think it has the first 4 episodes with the Punisher are absolutely phenomenal. And the philosophical debate that you have between Frank and Matt or Punisher and Daredevil, it's absolutely excellent, which is
I agree.
Straight ripped from the comics. I think the whole Elektra thing was, I think they were kind of jumping the shark there a little bit. I don't really remember a lot of the first season, but I thought from what I remember, first season was pretty solid. I think he's just the Kingpin. There's like a really good garage fight scene that I felt like they totally were inspired by the Batman Begins scene from with the drugs and Falcone and stuff, which is like one of the, I think that is such a great Batman scene. And then the Daredevil scene in the garage with the I don't know, the Eastern Europeans. I don't know if they're Russians or not. That was fantastic. And then obviously they tried to add in the hand there a little bit towards the end with the Japanese guy. I can't remember his name right now, but and then they brought in like the old lady too. So I think the first season was pretty solid, really good. The Kingpin's characterization was always really good. There's like that one scene where you can just see like the uncontrolled rage where he like bashes the guy's head in on the car. That kind of stands out to me as just kind of showing how uncontrolled this guy is. Even though he puts on this kind of like facade that he's totally in control, and he just kind of unleashes that rage. And I enjoyed it for the most part on average, but I definitely feel like there's things that were good and things that were bad with it. But yeah, like this to me, it's just like, this is Marvel Studios. This is what they do. We haven't seen them change any of this stuff. The stuff that they've been putting out that I did watch, like the most recent stuff that I watched was like Loki season 1. And that was like one of the worst things I've ever watched. I haven't really heard anything good about any of the other stuff. Like Secret Invasion sound absolutely horrible. The clips that I've seen on social media look like absolute trash. So they did with Emilia Clarke. I've heard nothing good about the Echo show. Heard that was garbage as well.
I skipped all that stuff.
Yeah. So Moon Knight looked terrible. So this was something, the marketing for this actually looked decent, but then like the way the guy's been talking about like the spoiler stuff that happens in the first episode. I know lots of people are mad that we, we spoiled that in the headline, but the guy, like the TV guy, the head of Marvel, is literally doing the interview with the spoiler. So it's like, blame him. He's the one talking about it. And then this, like, it's just, this is Marvel. This is what they are. You can just look at what they did with Captain America and everything I've heard about that. It's the same stuff over and over again. Not really seeing any improvement, not really seeing any change. And I think that's because they got the same people still working there. I mean, this Dario Scartapian guy isn't like any different from anyone else that's been working there. I think he worked on Moon Knight, like, if memory serves. So,
and I really liked the Moon Knight character, and I was really disappointed with what they did with that show and that character, because that's a badass character.
Yeah, he's like Marvel's Batman, or that's what a lot of people try to describe him as.
Yep, and they really jumped the shark with that. Loki season 1, I was like, that was right after Endgame and stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be on board. Let me see what they end up doing with this, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, he was constantly emasculated by the Sylvia woman. They were trying to make him like, they set it up so it's like you're back to like the Loki who's all about trying to take over, right? Like, this is what we wanted. We didn't want the, like, they're back to that original characterization. Like they created something to get back to that, and then they immediately emasculated him with that whole like TVA scene where he's like being stripped down, he's being lectured by Ravonna. I mean, it was just cringe after cringe after cringe. It was so bad. It was garbage. I mean, it was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Yeah, and the Marvel shows just kept getting worse and worse. So, with everything I've been hearing on the Daredevil stuff, and then I've been hearing the same stuff that there's looking at bringing Punisher and stuff into it. A lot of people are like, okay, are they going to start getting back on track with some of these shows? And then, like, again, I've not seen the new Daredevil episodes yet, but I've heard mixed things about it. Some people who are big anti-Disney, anti-Marvel people actually liked it, and some of those same people didn't like it. So I don't know. Have either of you seen the new Daredevil Reborn?
I watched the first half of the first episode. So
yeah, that's right. You watched the. That's right.
I think that tells you all you need to know, right? You didn't finish it.
I didn't have time, and it wasn't just because, again, I didn't think it was bad, but they tried to be a little bit like the Netflix show. I can tell there's major deviation. I've only made it through half the episode. I'm not really going to give an opinion on it till I've seen at least a couple. So
I always give a show at least 3 episodes.
Yeah, and that's my rule of thumb, and it has been for probably 2 decades now. I mean, I would have missed out on Breaking Bad if I hadn't stuck through 3 episodes of that. So
I was hooked on Breaking Bad after episode 1. At the end of episode 1, I was like, "Oh,
dude, he's standing in his underwear."
I know. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, I got to see what happened with this guy. Like, I had to see the next episode. But yeah, great shit. Did you watch Better Call Saul too, Culture?
Of course.
Yeah. No, another great show. I love that whole series. Did you watch any of those, John?
No.
Oh, you missed out.
I think they're part of the reason why a lot of our media is garbage now.
Yeah,
because it's bad people being shown as heroes.
I don't think they show him as a hero.
No, they're definitely bad people, for sure.
I mean, he's the protagonist, right? So they're definitely. I mean, how much?
wait a minute.
I mean, from what I understand, like they are kind of. I mean, it's like Mad Men, right? The guy obviously is the protagonist.
Sicario. I mean, we can go through a bunch of films where the bad guy is the quote.
Does he end up like paying for his crimes?
Oh yeah, with his life.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
it's not. I mean,
because that's what I know. A lot of people like give a lot of grief to Godfather Part 3, but the way that movie ends is perfect. He ends dead by himself, and all the work that he's done is just completely. He's empty, right? He's literally empty. There's nothing left there. So, if that's the case, then maybe I'll give it. Maybe it might be worth it.
Yeah, I think if you actually watched it, I think you'd probably like it. And I think you would probably like what happens with all the characters in it as well. And then there was El
so it's just kind of
Camino,
like
which was the
sorry,
sequel movie to it, and then Better Call Saul, which was a sequel to Breaking Bad and a prequel all at the same time. Just that whole universe is I thought was very, very well done. But continue, John, what were you saying?
Yeah, so I was just going to point to Mad Men, and I feel like that's kind of in the same vein. Obviously, I didn't watch Breaking Bad, but it's kind of a protagonist who does a lot of bad stuff. And the way that show ends is that he goes to this retreat or whatever. Obviously, after he's like divorced his wife, he's basically abandoned his kids. He's done all these absolutely terrible things, and he gets a happy ending because it ends with the Coca-Cola commercial. And it's heavily implied that he did that and nothing really affected him, and he's like back at the top of his game. And that's why I find that entire thing very nihilist.
Yeah, that's not what happens in Breaking Bad for sure.
Okay, if he pays the price for his crimes, I think that's different, because I think that's why a lot of these crime movies that we like, or that are kind of hit the zeitgeist when they came out. We resonate with them because sure, they're bad guys and we see that, but they usually do have like their comeuppance. You think about Casino, you think about Goodfellas, etc. That like obviously there is a comeuppance with it. Even what's the Denzel Washington one with
Training Day.
No, yeah, Training Day. But then there's the other one where he plays the drug kingpin that's smuggling in the cocaine or the heroin.
Based on a true story.
American Gangster.
Yeah, American Gangster. Yes.
So he obviously pays for his crimes and things like that. So, and they're obviously there's crooked cops in that, but you obviously have the good cop too, and he eventually wins, right? So,
did you watch Narcos?
I watched a little bit of it.
I heard good stuff about that too. I've not
seen
it.
That was a long time ago, though. That was like when Netflix was first starting.
It's the only role that I can tolerate Pedro Pascal in. You know, I thought, because his time was so short in Game of Thrones as the Viper or whatever the heck his name was.
Yeah.
I felt like that was fine. He couldn't defend. He was offensive, but he couldn't defend too much. But I think in Narcos, the fact that he's trying to chase down these bad guys in Colombia is fascinating. And, I don't know. Overall, I thought that was a decent show. But wow, did we get sidetracked? But I guess that was fortunate. We filled in a bunch of time, and now we've got to get out of here because I think there's another.
Yeah, if Daredevil Born Again does what happens in American Gangster, where you have like crooked cops and things like that, and there are good cops, and the good cops win or whatever, like then that would be great. But I just have a feeling it's going to be. There's a bunch of crooked cops. They're bad and dirty, and there isn't going to be like the good cop. I mean, that's what makes Batman so great. Like, obviously, you have the crooked cops in Batman, but you have Gordon, you have Jim Gordon, you have all of these like good, upstanding cops as well. And so it's not just like a narrative about like all cops are bad, which is what I have a feeling is what's going to happen here, because that's what that whole comic book story was all about. In 2019, it was a total virtue signal about all of that stuff with it, and then you had Jerry Conway doing all the BLM stuff right after it. So
yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for EBN Cast episode 39. We will be back next Friday for episode 40 of EBN Cast. Thank you guys for all of your continued support. Culture, tell everybody what you got going on. Links in the description.
Yeah, I've got tons. Yeah, my link's in the description. Check it out. Culture Casino, easy to find everywhere, not just on YouTube or Rumble, also on X and Getter and Minds and other stuff. But I've got this weekend I'll be releasing a story I'll probably end up recording tonight or tomorrow morning about
now that you got internet.
Yeah, thank goodness. ABC, and The View in probably a survival lawsuit with Caroline Levitt. This is for real, and nobody's really talking.
Press secretary?
Yeah, this is for real. It's the defamation is real. The malice.
Oh, this is the Sunny Hostin stuff that she was like
malice
apologizing for.
Yeah, the malice is real, and that's what makes a defamation case go in this particular situation. So they're looking at almost a definite loss at ABC, and they're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe as much as $800 million.
Wow.
So, and that sounds like I'm being hyperbolic. I'm not. It could be more than that, considering what CNN just dodged as far as their latest case. And here's the difference: the CNN guy, that contractor that was helping people escape from Afghanistan. This is different. Caroline's not going to take payoff. She ain't going to settle. She's going to go to the penalty phase, which is phase 2, if it gets there to begin with. But I don't see a judge dismissing this when you can see the malice and it's in the email and everything
like
else.
Gina 2.0.
Yeah, this exactly. So, and this will move fast, because it just will. So I'm really excited.
Press secretary.
Exactly. This will move very quickly. And I don't think ABC wants this smoke. So there's a chance, if I were a betting man, to say that ABC may not bring back The View.
God, that would be so funny. But they give us so much funny content.
I'm just saying.
That's like their number one show, I feel like.
Well, yeah, but here's the problem, John. It's in their news division. The View is in their news division. They're not news.
No.
I mean, that's all they do, though, is talk about
propaganda
news.
mouthpieces.
Maybe, but like again, I mean, is ABC News going to have to come out as entertainment like CNN did? Because that's what
I would
CNN
love that,
did.
but I mean, what is it? A distinction without a difference, right? Like,
well, I mean, but here's the thing: if you start to change the perception that these aren't really news organizations, then what are they? They're like basketball wives or lifestyles of the, rich and famous or some other stuff. I mean, it's like, this is a throwaway entertainment program, and I think
has CNN saw any kind of like negative drop of their viewership or whatever you're like referring to.
I mean, after the settlement, no. Again, that's because I don't think
it's pretty low already.
It's hard to go lower than that. But they didn't go all the way to the end. The contractor took the settlement, which was obviously an enormous sum, well more than what they were entitled to just from the initial damages or the finding of facts that they were guilty, because they were guilty. But settling before that second phase was the difference, John. And I don't think Carolyn Levitt will do it. So I'm kind of excited. So I'm going to kind of report what we know about that case as one of the videos. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. I didn't need for it to be that long. I just wanted to say that's what I'm working on. So,
yeah. John, what do you got going on?
Yeah, so I mean, just covering stuff that happens over at phantompulse.com. It's a news website that I run with John Della Rose. Got lots of stuff over there. There's the Harry Potter Snape race swap that's happening. The Amazon planning to wokeify James Bond even more than what Barbara Broccoli and Eon did during their latest run with the character. I mean, there's the lawsuit from these, I think I mentioned earlier in the show, these gay, queer, and trans theaters suing the National Endowment for the Arts over Trump's executive order banning federal funding for anything that's promoting gender ideology. J.K. Rowling going after people. There's apparently a Janeway spinoff show that's being discussed. So lots of stuff happening over there. And then obviously, outside of all of that, I've got stockcarreport.com, where I cover like NASCAR, dirt late models, and the Cars Tour for any kind of motorsports enthusiasts.
And all that's coming back into season right now, right?
Yeah, NASCAR's in week 4.
Yeah.
The dirt late models are on a break right now, but they're coming back on the 21st of this month. And there's already some kind of lower tier divisions that still race here. There's a big race at is it I-75 Raceway in I think it's Sweetwater, Tennessee. Or Hunt the Front.
So while you were talking, I was just looking at my phone, and Debbie Young looks like she broke her arm or something and has surgery Wednesday. So Debbie, Mama Bear in chat. That's why she's like, I can't. She was trying to voice text and kind of type when she was doing her super chats and chats earlier, and was like, I can't type very well. You're trying to use the voice texting thing. So, but Well wishes to you, Debbie. Hope everything goes good on Wednesday. As soon as I get back in town, I will open up that package that you sent me on stream. I'll make sure that you are here when I open it. She sent me a birthday gift, I guess, and,
Awesome. Very nice.
which it's my birthday this Sunday.
Happy
March
birthday.
9th. So I think we're gonna.
Yeah.
Me and Coach might do a birthday stream Sunday afternoon, Sunday
Yeah.
night, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe
should.
before Valiant stream or after. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, I don't know. Valiant streams for 27 hours now.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so maybe we'll do it late afternoon or something. But thank you guys again for all your continued support. Go sub to these guys and go support them as well. As we always say here, you are Echo Base Network. And until the next one, guys, we'll see y'all later.